This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
The world needed a safer trampoline. Dr. Keith Alexander, inventor of the Spring-Free Trampoline, wanted to bring the joy of trampolining to his daughter. His wife said they were too dangerous, so he invented his own. Spring-Free Trampoline is the world's safest trampoline, with no springs or hard edges. Now, parents can have peace of mind that their kids are outside jumping safely. To learn more, visit springfreetrampoline.com.
Hey, this is BJ. Thanks for listening to our show's podcast. If you're a fan of all things geeky, you should check out my other podcast, BJ Shea's Geek Nation. We have new episodes every day, and you can check it out at bjgeeknation.com.
Your home is going into foreclosure and you feel like a financial wreck. You don't know where to turn for accurate information. I'm bankruptcy attorney Travis Gagne. Let's talk about some legal options. If we work quickly, we can propose a plan to save your home, modify the loan, or in many cases even eliminate your second mortgage. The consultation is free. I've helped hundreds of people just like you make informed decisions about whether to save their home or exit it on a reasonable, organized timeline. The chapter you choose sets the tone for the next chapter of your life. Please contact me today at choosetherightchapter.com. That's choosetherightchapter.com.
99.9 KISW, the Rock of Seattle. Finally, some good news for people like me. Uh-oh. You know how I say sometimes, though, I've been pretty good over the last year, but, you know, sometimes I get here late because I get lost in the sauce.
That's my favorite reason. It's like, BJ's 5 minutes late. Where are you? Did you oversleep? Nope. Just got lost in the sauce.
And that's my way of saying daydreaming. And it really makes you look bad when you're daydreaming and you get caught. And in my case, you know, I'm like, oh, I'm not here on time because I ended up just being lost in the sauce in the shower or whatever. But now there's science, Steve, your favorite subject.
Science.
It backs up that daydreaming people like me, it's a good thing, especially when I do it at work. Now, that's what I have to do. I have to get here on time, then start daydreaming here.
Oh, okay.
Can we get a shower in the studio? Is that possible? Because that's what I do my best daydreaming.
Well, we could dump water on you while you're here.
Well.
It's like Flashdance.
And we'll film it in slow motion. It'll be an Instagram hit.
Oh, that's
yeah.
wonderful. Did somebody just say like Flashdance from 400 years ago?
I might have, yes.
You know what? That's a...
Hey, Deadpool 2 had a reference to it. Why can't I?
All right. Well, Steve, it's in Deadpool 2.
Well, did Family Guy ever reference it, Vicky?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then you're all right.
Sweet.
Okay.
You get a pass.
Yeah, Washington University in St. Louis, which I've never heard of. I always think it's really funny when some other states have a name, you know, that's our state or something. It's like,
Is it named after George Washington?
It's probably the president.
It may be. Boy, he got around, didn't he? I mean, you know, he's got his D.C.,
Yes,
he's got a University of St. Louis, he's got a whole state here. I mean, if you're Jefferson or Taft, you're like, really? Washington?
I mean, he's America's first political whore. He got around.
He certainly did. So the good folks at Washington University in St. Louis say it's a good thing when people daydream at work.
Now, are we supposed to be daydreaming about work, or can we daydream about anything?
You know
Like,
what?
what makes it a good thing?
I feel like daydreaming just means if you go by the idea that when you get writer's block, you just walk away from the writing and just go walking around, let your mind wander. So I think you should be able to wander into any territory you want.
Okay.
That's my thought. And they're saying doing this helps you, Steve, come up with more creative solutions to whatever you're working on, especially those challenging projects.
Do you have like a certain thing that's kind of like your go-to for daydreams?
Wow. They're usually arguments with people.
That doesn't sound like that's more of like a day nightmare.
I agree.
Right? Wait, you dream about fighting with people?
I do, yeah.
Well, I guess I do too, but it's pretend fighting. I'll daydream about wrestling matches.
All right, so yours is physical fighting, mine's verbal fighting.
Like, back before all this stupidity that's going on in the world, like I knew I had a match coming up. I would daydream about what we were going to do in the match, and I would do this all day long, and I kind of come up with ideas. In bed, I'd sometimes stay up late at night and just like kind of picture what I wanted to do. And one time my wife's like, "Did you hear anything I said?" And I was like, "No, I'm sorry, I was daydreaming." She's like, "Well, what about?" And then I told her. And she's like, "Uh-oh." She's like, "Just No.
Just don't tell me that anymore.
You're
You come up with
watching it on
something-
television. You're watching it in your head now.
I think she would have rather me daydream about, like, having sex with a celebrity over like this. Like, she's like, it just consumes you. This is too much. I'm
Well,
like,
it's
I'm
close.
sorry.
You're grappling with some famous people sometimes.
That's true, and we have oil on us. And
Yeah, so, I mean,
I don't put any oil on
You
me.
could say you were having sex with a celebrity, and she, you're just, it's foreplay.
But that's my go-to.
Yeah. Well,
so
it makes
yours
sense.
is arguing with people.
But think about that. I will tell you why, because what I do for a living, a lot of times it was debating, arguing,
Yes.
whatever, and so I've gotten into a habit of it, even though nowadays I don't have to.
Anyone else on the show a daydreamer? And I'm curious what you guys are daydreaming about.
Always. I can't stop just
Is it memes?
daydreaming. That is one of the things. There's just imagine like a big mixing pot and everything thrown in there. That's what's constantly going on in my head. But I think the one thing I usually go to is just like how I'm going to redecorate and remodel my house.
Oh, I wish I should have taken a guess. Do it.
Yeah, right.
I should have said it's a DIY daydream.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, if I take the tub out and I put in a new tub and I tile it, do I want to tile the floor this way? What colors? Yeah, that's
Oh, man.
going on
You
all
are
the
fully
time.
hooked in.
Oh, yeah.
It's usually our chats between Vicky and I. It's either that or me talking about poo.
You
Yeah.
know, I have to tell you.
We know what Rev daydreamed about.
Yeah,
Warm
that's-
toilet seats.
Yeah, we don't. Did he just? Yeah, he just said poo.
Yeah.
That's not what I wanted. How about you, Danny?
Food. That's literally
good call.
I sit around and I think about my next meal and how much I cannot wait for that meal to be in my belly.
I'm with you on that one. That's
Yeah.
another one that my wife gives me a hard time. Like, we'll literally just finished eating lunch, and I'm like, so what are we having for dinner? She's like, you haven't even processed what you just ate. I'm like, and? What are we
man.
having for dinner?
And a lot of
Honest
times,
to
like
gosh.
weekend stuff, I'm like, oh, what are we going to have this weekend? Pizza. We're going to stop at Taco Bell, Del Taco, and maybe some Arby's.
Dude,
Like,
we'll do that sometimes too. I'll be like, what do you think we're going to have for our takeout this week? She's like, it's Monday. We don't do it until Friday or Saturday.
Got to plan these things.
I was like, well, what's the weather going to be like? Because that also has something to do with what we
What's
eat.
the weather going to be like? And it's all focusing around the food situation. And she obviously doesn't have the same kind of mind you do.
No, she's waiting. It's more of a game time decision. I'm like, well, it's going to be sunny on Friday night, so Friday. So maybe we do sushi because sushi's good for sunny weather. And then if it's like chilly or overcast or rainy, we're like, well, let's lean towards Indian.
Ooh, good call.
Yeah, see, I'll tell you, man, and
I like that.
It is an interesting thing, because Eckhart Tolle writes this book. He wrote the book called The Power of Now.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of us in this world that we're all about the power of when. Like, we just want to look forward to something, and, they tell you stay in the present moment. But it's like, I don't know, man, sometimes I deal with the present moment because I'm thinking about what's cool coming up in the future.
Right. Something to look forward to. The power of what's next for dinner.
yes.
Oh, that's going to be a long title for a book, but I think we'll give it a shot. We'll see if that could be the sequel.
BJ and Migs, mornings on The Rock, 99.9 KISW.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
New on Curiosity Stream. With superior armies comes superior weapons. How has innovation mechanized the battlefield? From bullets to battleships and everything in between. It's machinery of warfare. Plus, from the gross to the gourmet. See how that in-flight meal lands on your tray table. On secrets of your airline food. It's all on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit curiositystream.com.
Wenatchee is gorgeous in the spring with its lush green rolling hills, abundant wildflowers everywhere, and the views of the Columbia River. The local food scene offers an abundant selection of authentic international cuisines featuring the unique farm-fresh ingredients of the region. Wenatchee is also home to award-winning wines, handcrafted hard ciders, and a talented handful of local brewers producing fine craft beers. Visit Wenatchee, the heart of Washington State.
99.9 KISW, the Rock of Seattle. There's this guy. His name is Sam. And Sam just did an interview with Vice after a hacker got control of a Wi-Fi chastity belt while he was wearing it. And
This is a thing?
I guess. So yeah, they got control of his Wi-Fi belt, the chastity belt, forced him to pay money to remove it. They took control.
Now, these are hackers that think outside the box because everybody's thinking about, let's hit up companies, let's hit up banks, let's hit up old people. This one's like, there's a market for people who have Wi-Fi chastity belts. We can totally bilk them for cash.
Yeah, Sam said, initially I thought it was my partner. I got a bit excited by it. But when he called and gave her their safe word, he realized, wait a minute, it wasn't her. It was hackers. And they messaged him and demanded $1,000 in Bitcoin to unlock the chastity belt.
Which is called the cellmate. And I don't even know what to describe it. It's like a jock strap on steroids.
A jock strap mixed with like those lock boxes you see outside of like certain businesses or houses where people keep their keys inside. It looks like one of those.
I'm never going to look at a house for sale the same. I'm going to think that's not a doorknob. It's inside of it.
Wow. And this dude was walking around with this thing.
You put your hot dog in.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Oh, they use the carrot for an example.
Yeah. So you put your carrot inside the lockbox thing and... Wow.
That would be awkward if you pull up to the urinal next to somebody and all of a sudden you hear some weird sounds.
Yeah, that's so. Of course, he didn't want to pay the money, so he and his partner took bolt cutters to the chastity belt.
I don't even know if I could do that.
And they were actually able to get it off, but not without a little pain. Sam said, "quote I don't have a scar or anything, but I was bleeding and it effing hurt." Okay. Now, as far as we know, he's not planning on suing the chastity belt manufacturers or anybody, but he's not planning to use digital adult products anymore.
No?
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Yeah. Back in October, there was a story about a security flaw that could have allowed hackers to lock all of these devices at once. So I guess that's what happened. Here's a member of the UK security team explaining the device and how it can be hacked.
The idea is that you put the appendage in here, you then put a clamp on, and you're then well and truly locked in. It's that smart, so it's locked over Bluetooth, so you'd use a smartphone to lock it. You'd then give permission to lock to someone else that you trust, who then has control over your device. Unfortunately, an insecure direct object reference in the API meant you could take over everyone's chastity device and lock everybody in. And believe it or not, there's no key on here or override. The only way to get out is to cut through this, which is hardened steel. And given where it's at, that's going to be quite difficult to get yourself out of.
We're still talking about the device that's still. Right?
Oh, man, dude.
Why wouldn't you have like in case of emergency, hit this button?
Or something. Yeah, that's pretty lame.
So if you do have to go number one, you have to have somebody unlock it, it looks like, right? There's no
opening? I just assumed there should be something where you should be able to do that without you know. Okay.
I didn't see anything.
Yeah, the things I'm Googling today.
Yeah.
Right?
I guess it's probably good that you would have that. See, I would never be able to have that. I have to go number one so much. Are you kidding me?
According to some quick searching, it takes some practice, but you can.
Oh, you can? Okay.
Take some practice? What kind of practice? Well, I'm not asking these questions.
I mean...
I'm glad I don't have
I'll send you the link, Steve.
Whatever wiring a person has to want to do this. I'm glad I don't have that wiring. I got some other crazy wiring in my head, but I'm glad I don't got that.
I'm just on Amazon. What am I doing? I share my Amazon with my wife. I'm doing a search for this on Amazon to see if it's available. Oh, Vicky's got it. Yeah, apparently it's there. Put that on your wish list.
Well, now you're going to have to explain to your wife why you need a chastity belt.
Oh, yeah, now I can see. Yeah, there is a spot where they could go number one. $188 for this thing, BJ.
Yeah, and that way I could take it over and lock it in for you. Seems like a great deal.
It's just cheaper to get the non-Wi-Fi ones, the metal caged ones.
Oh,
not that I would know.
No, of course you wouldn't know that.
I mean, if you got to get the top of the line. You could start your car now with a cell phone.
Yeah,
and apparently also
and your husband
disable your thingamajigger.
Yeah. I guess it's probably good, it just adds to the fun in the bedroom. I get it, but I do not want my boys or anything near that kind of equipment.
Again, though, hackers, this is some diabolical crap that they're doing. They realize that this thing existed. They probably saw the video of this guy saying there's a potential of it being hacked, and granted, we're really narrowing our audience, but we could potentially get a lot of money from people that would be too embarrassed to do anything otherwise.
And of course, they wanted Bitcoin. Because it's the shadowy currency, everybody.
Well, they got to buy their stocks on Robinhood, apparently.
Well, yeah, you need to do that. So Gizmodo.com asked a bunch of sound experts to name the sound that humans find most annoying, and we got some of their responses. We got like five sounds that people can't stand. One is very bizarre, and I imagine, man,
is it that sound? Take the trash out. That's a very annoying sound.
Very specific. No, that's not on the list.
It's a weird sound. I hear it from time to time.
Yeah. You could maybe attribute that to voices of people you've been stuck with during the pandemic. Okay, that could be that.
I'm not saying that.
I mean, that's number 5. So,
What about babies screeching?
Babies
Like,
screeching.
not crying, but or maybe just like toddlers when they just do that ear piercing screech.
Oh, yeah, Todd. Like when kids are playing in a park and and they're just screaming for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
You're like, stop screaming.
Just like learn volume control.
Yeah, and I've seen that where parents have said you're going to have to not be on the jungle gym anymore if you make that sound again. But I feel bad for the kid because it just seems like, well, that's what they do.
Well, I'd rather them do it outside than inside because it just really echoes inside. It's worse.
That is not on the list, at least not in the top 5.
Dang it.
Anybody else have a guess? The most annoying sound that humans do not dig?
Sirens in the middle of the night.
Ooh, yeah, those are not fun. But no.
Also, siren sound in in a song or somehow they always say don't play siren sound effects on the radio because you're messing with your audience.
Oh, that's right.
But when there's a siren in a song, sometimes I have, and I'm like, well, am I speeding when I do it? And I'm looking around, I'm like, I don't see any lights. And I'm like, oh, son of a bitch, it's the damn song I'm listening to. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I agree with that one. Not on the list, but that's a good one.
One that's been bothering me lately is that my little foster brother has learned to do this. He'll grind his teeth, and that noise just gets me every time. And there's no way to tell him hey, knock it off, because he doesn't understand that that's what's bothering me. He doesn't.
Or does he?
I mean, he is a little.
I mean, they say that once you realize your kids are playing you, they've been playing you longer than you even realize.
Yes.
Someone said, how about annoying sounds my dog drinking?
Your dog drinking?
I don't mind my dog. I like that sound because I know that she's staying hydrated.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me. I guess it depends on the dog. That's not on the list either. This one I had going on for a long time. It's finally over because the house is built. But
construction.
It's basically things that our neighbors do that we can't control, whether it be throwing parties, construction, whatever.
Yeah, like sometimes right now they're doing obviously a lot of construction, development. It's not bad, but every once in a while when you're trying to watch a show and you just constantly hear a hammer, and it's like, I don't know why, but I kind of wish they would just stay on the beat, because sometimes they'll have a rhythm to it, and I'm like, as a musical guy, I'm kind of creating a pattern in my head, and then all of a sudden they stop, and I'm like, all right, guys, I'm working on a song with you.
Yeah, sorry, buddy.
So disrespectful, right?
Number 3. So we got number 5. We got number 2. Number 3 is old school, and that is actually a clue.
I don't know if this is.
It's a big clue. It's old school.
A typewriter.
Ah, that's a good call.
See, that sounds awesome to me.
See, I'm not sure if Vicky and Danny are old enough. I said it was old school.
My mom was a typing teacher.
Yeah, it's not typing.
Oh, okay,
but it is old school.
Old school.
Like a bell?
Well, that's the clue. So it's old school, and it's old school.
Will Ferrell, you're right.
Will Ferrell's hella annoying.
Yeah, old school is back in the day. That's a phrase when you say, "Oh, this is old school." It's back in the day, but it's also old school.
You saying it over and over is not helping.
Well, old school is the clue, and school is the clue.
Right.
So what is something from back in the day that happened in a school that would be the most annoying sound you'd ever hear? Oh, you don't remember this?
The most annoying sound was,
you could get
we
at
have your
school.
mom on the phone. We know you pooped your pants and you're stuck in the stall. Please get out.
Again, highly specific. That was number 6.
That was
on the
second
list.
grade.
Yeah,
Sorry. That was weird.
All right. You guys are totally forgetting this, but we all remember we hated it, and that is chalkboard scraping.
Oh, like nails on a chalkboard.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Any kind of scraping. But again, I think Vicky, Danny, did you guys have chalkboards, or were you whiteboards by the time you kids were in school?
Maybe in kindergarten we had a chalkboard, but I just remember whiteboards.
We had both.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying, nails on a chalkboard for sure.
Yeah.
One person brought this up, and it's kind of an older thing, but it still exists. But they said the smoke detector. And I would even go one further.
Oh, yeah.
The random beep that goes off when the battery is low.
Oh, yeah. That's the smoke detector itself isn't a problem because you can shut it off. You're right. That beep, and then if you get multiples, you don't know which one it is.
Problem.
Oh, see, ours is super high tech, which I found out because we have they had to replace them when we bought our house, 2 years ago. Ours is voice activated. Or it'll say things. So it'll be it'll do that beep noise, but then it'll be battery low in the bedroom. And it's terrifying because it comes
terrifying, but that's so nice.
It comes out of nowhere though. And it will scare the crap out of you. And plus it terrifies my cats.
Oh, well, we're sorry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That also is not on the list.
Man, that's some fancy-ass smoke detector, if you ask me, telling you where it is and what's happening.
I think that's fantastic, yeah.
Mine just does that little beep thing, and it pisses me off because I'm like, well, I got to get batteries for all of them, apparently. And next thing you know, you're dropping, like, those 9-volt batteries ain't cheap.
Okay, well.
And then you're buying, like 6 of them. And that's a lot of money.
I have
you
one.
go to a gas station, they're totally looking at you like, what's wrong with you, sir? Why are you buying 6 of these? They've been collecting They've been collecting dust in our store for years.
Yeah. I know. Ours are awesome. Yeah, they only do AA.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they talk to us.
Man, you are on another level.
Yeah. I might have to talk about maybe replacing mine. I'll have to get someone to do that because I got one way high I can't reach. Mm-hmm. It's like on the roof. And so when that battery's out, it's like beep. You can't stop it.
How about the car alarm that goes off behind my apartment building every day for 3 hours and no one turns it off?
Says right here, number 7, the car alarm behind Danny's apartment building.
Dude, is it the one that changes sounds? Like it goes through the whole 7 different sounds of car alarms?
No, at least that you can make up a song to. This one's just the horn that just goes.
Yeah. I like the one that goes.
I remember that one.
Wow. I think you have just, Steve, you just did the number one thing that's most annoying.
Thank you.
Steve trying to do impressions of sounds. The number one thing, I think when I tell you what it is, you'll all agree that's what it is.
A dog licking himself. That's just texted in.
A dog licking himself?
It is a gross sound, man.
Okay. There are times I'm like, Lulu, knock it off. You're annoying.
I'm going to tell you number 1, but first let me tell you number 4, which is so oddly specific. Like, who are they talking to on this list? Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
The number 4 most annoying sound to humans is a loud artificial heart valve, which creates a loud permanent sound coming from your body even when you're trying to sleep. That's number 4.
Right, that's oddly specific.
It's very oddly specific. Would they go to a nursing home for this? What? I mean, what? Who's got a heart valve? I mean,
I imagine a lot of people, but that's still if you don't have one, you don't know that sound.
Well, yes.
At all.
I mean, I don't know anybody that's got a heart valve that makes a noise that you could hear. Like you're talking to Jimmy, it's like, like, the hell is that? Should be coming from your pocket. Oh, that's my heart valve.
It's my heart. I'm happy to see you.
Yeah. Now, number 1, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's the sound we all hate, vomiting.
Oh. You know, it's the pre-vomit sound. I think it's more annoying than the actual vomit.
Oh, the build up?
Yeah, they're like, I'm building, and then when it all happens, I'm almost relieved. I'm like, thank God you're done with that.
My dad, I swear, was a Broadway performer when he vomited because you just knew. Now, granted, we had a small house and 1 bathroom. But man, when he vomited, it was like, oh my! I like call the authorities.
Like
I don't think he's going to.
Heaves and sounds.
It's just loud. Maybe the bathroom echoed it, but I have that memory in my head. Nobody else in my family I've ever remembered vomiting, but my father. And when he vomited, I swear the whole neighborhood. Now he was a loud man anyway, but man, it was like, is this Godzilla vomiting? What is happening in there with this poor guy? Yeah, it was just epic. And I mean, I can remember it right now. It's coming back to me. I'm like, I'm in the living room going, Jesus, somebody go help that man.
Call the doctors.
So that's the number 1 sound, the vomiting sound.
So it's a cat hacking up at 3 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably about the same.
Oh, yeah.
Your dog gagging right before it's about to go puke.
Oh, yeah.
I think if you ask Lulu, though, her most annoying sound that she deals with in our household, if you were wondering.
Oh, ask Lulu, yes.
Is me sneezing. She loses her mind. This dog goes nuts. I honestly, if I'm not home and I sneeze, I flinch because I'm afraid Lulu will just come out of nowhere and just start barking at me. It's the weirdest thing.
Oh, that dog.
She doesn't. Only my sneeze and now Tatum's sneeze too pisses her off.
Aw.
When Sid sneezes, no big deal.
How is that? But why? Why is she so favoritism per lady?
She's got daddy's sneeze.
Yeah, she does.
Oh, that's what it is.
I guess
she sounds
She's
like
got
your
dad's
sneeze.
appetite and gas as well.
Oh, okay. That Tatum did not get the good qualities. That's unfortunate.
She got my eyelashes. She got the great qualities, BJ.
Oh, all right. Well, she's got that going for her.
Today's podcast was brought to you by Travis Gagne, bankruptcy attorney. He's here right now and has agreed to answer more of your questions about bankruptcy. Here's another question from a listener. I'm getting my wages garnished. Can bankruptcy help with that?
Absolutely. One of the big reasons people file bankruptcy is because they have a judgment or a lawsuit against them, or their wages are getting garnished, and so they can't pay their other regular ongoing bills. People sometimes think that you can't file bankruptcy once they have a judgment against them or once a garnishment has started, and that's not true. Filing bankruptcy will immediately stop any garnishment that you have going, except for child support, and stop your creditors from continuing on with garnishments of your bank account, your wages, and in most cases will discharge that liability through the bankruptcy process. And we can file a bankruptcy case for you usually the day you come in.
Thanks, Travis. If you have more questions about bankruptcy, you can reach out to Travis anytime at choosetherightchapter.com. That's choosetherightchapter.com. Thanks for listening.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
Wenatchee is gorgeous in the spring with its lush green rolling hills, abundant wildflowers everywhere, and the views of the Columbia River. The local food scene offers an abundant selection of authentic international cuisines featuring the unique farm-fresh ingredients of the region. Wenatchee is also home to award-winning wines, handcrafted hard ciders, and a talented handful of local brewers producing fine craft beers. Visit Wenatchee, the heart of Washington State.